So you have clicked this video means you have chosen to defeat toxicity. You have chosen to know how you can handle toxicity better, and which is a good news. Welcome, this is Namisha, and in this video I'm trying to make sure that I will give you some tips on how you can stand up for yourself in the workplace. I see that the biggest reason we don't kind of communicate in the workplace or stand up for toxicity or the bad behavior that we have is because we fear the repercussions. We constantly fear that this might result in us losing a job. It might result in the work environment changing for us. And in this video, I'm going to give you a few tips of what you need to keep in mind so that you can speak up your mind. And I will also give you some real examples from my own life and my friends where they have stood up for themselves, used self-advocacy, and they've got the result. So let's begin. The first and foremost thing, let's understand what is self-advocacy. So as you know, the word advocacy is close to advocate, right? And the advocate will fight for what is right, or will take a stand and will put arguments about whatever he is fighting for. So when we are fighting for our own selves, when we are taking a stand for ourselves, we will be talking about our own selves, and we don't need any legal qualifications, or we don't need any legal involvement when it is coming to advocacy for our own selves. Yeah. So we are going to talk about that how we can take our stand, how we can take care of our interests in a toxic work environment. And for that, the number one thing that you need to do is you need to keep a record, or you need to document what is happening. So whenever you will have to challenge a situation, you need to have proper records. In a formal workplace setting, you need to have the records of what is happening. If you go on further to kind of talk to somebody about the toxicity, if you want to take a stand even with your boss, you will need clear facts. So you need to get into the habit of documenting things or recording things. So here recording does not mean maybe recording through a video camera itself, but noting things with you, having it handy, having it somewhere written, so if needed you can use it. And this habit also helps you in noting what is going correct and standing up for yourself when maybe you need a promotion and so on also. So document things. That is very, very important, especially if you want to change this stance and you want to become a person who is currently maybe submissive or not taking a stand because of fear and want to get into the process. Documenting and the real picture will be very important, and you should have that. Second thing that you need to do is you need to learn how to communicate assertively. So I will break this down. Assertively would mean in a very, very adult manner, but I will break it down into saying that your communication, when you are advocating yourself, should have empathy for the person in front, should have respect for the person in front. Because let's face it, whenever we are kind of standing about ourselves, or when we feel the issue of taking a stand, it is mostly because we feel that respect is missing for us, understanding is not there, empathy for us is not there. But what we have to also remember is we have to have the same empathy and respect for the person in front. You are going to talk to a person in authority, and if you don't have empathy for the other person, you don't think on the other person's shoes, or you do not convey respect, normally our emotions take over and we can get aggressive or we can get defensive. That is not going to help. Yeah, so we need to have that. Thirdly, you should know your rights. Yeah, you should know what you can ask for. Let's say in India, you will not be able to ask your boss to give you a 4 days week. Yeah, an example. So you should know that, but you know that you can ask for an 8-hour week, you can 8 hours a day kind of a schedule, and you can ask for 5 days a week, you can ask for working say 40 to 45 hours a week. That is valid, that is accepted. Yeah, in terms of labor laws, maybe you need to know that what is it that you can ask in terms of number of leaves in the kind of company you work, whether PF or SIC or these kind of things is what you can ask in this current company or you cannot. Based on that, you have to take your action. So you should know your rights. Fourthly, what you should also know is what boundaries you want to set. So what do you want to achieve through your self-advocacy? When you take a stand, when you talk, what is the ultimate outcome that you want? You should be clear on that before you start. And then you should proceed. So these things are going to help. In certain cases, you can also seek colleagues' helps. Let's say, there's an issue of late sitting in the company. And if 5, 7 people, even in your department, if you all together take a stand about the timing, that is going to help. Yeah. So at times you might need to seek allies. At times you will have to stand up on your own and take action for those things. And you should also, at the stage, let's say when you choose to stand up for yourself, change this behavior your own self, from maybe somebody who's taking a negative behavior, who's taking toxicity for various reasons, has not kind of stood up for it or not taken a stand. And when you choose to stand up for it, you need to also increase your self-care. This is going to be a transition. This is going to be a phase where you will feel uneasy. This is going to be a phase where the person in front also will kind of feel uneasy. And that is why you need to also kind of be better prepared. Whatever you do for taking care of yourself in terms of, your emotional state and your spiritual state should kind of increase a little bit in this phase when you are taking the stand. Going further, you will see that the dynamics in relationships will change or all that, and slowly you'll be able to handle it. But initially, definitely, you also need to prioritize self-care. So I also said that in this video, I will talk of examples. So firstly, there's an example of a friend which I recently came to know, that I'll share that. And he was one person who was denied promotion because COVID came in and his promotion was halted, and the entire company, the promotion was halted. They were not given. And post-COVID, slowly promotion started happening. And by the time his turn came, he was assured that he will get the, promotion and everything. And then about last month sometime, when the actual promotion was due, it was going to get into effect, he was told that no, he is not being considered for kind of promotion. He was very shaken, he was very disappointed, but he took charge and he got support even from his seniors, and he was advised to write one email where he can politely, without getting disrespectful, without pointing fingers, politely make his case. And he did that. He wrote an email to his seniors, who would then pass it on to the senior most management, where very politely, with a lot of gratitude for whatever the company has also offered him, he wrote a mail pointing all that he has also done, the documenting part that we were talking of, that he documented everything, and he wrote that email. And to his surprise, about 15 days later, he was the only person given promotion. The whole promotion process had got halted, but he was the person who was given promotion in the company. So basically, like how he was mentioning also, that how that helped, like we were talking of, assertively he communicated, he had documented everything, so he had proof. And the outcome was, it was not that he was denied promotion yet. While it was denied, few days later it was changed and it became effective. From the same month it would have otherwise been effective. In my own life, there was a time many decades or a decade ago where I was working in a very toxic environment. The company there was a lot of politics, and it was a small consultancy, and they were trying to do many things. One of the things was making my position weaker in the organization, or maybe making me leave the organization. And when I have tried leaving the organization, things had backfired and so on. So basically, at one point, they reached a stage where about 7 more employees in my company were given increment, the yearly increment, but I was not offered the increment, whereas I was the oldest employee there. I was working for years, quite a few years, and I was working from day one from the company, reaching, from one employee to, for that matter, about those 6 to 7 employees that were there. And when I came to know this, obviously I was filled with a lot of anger, because I was already challenging to be productive in a difficult situation, and there was a lot of history on that. And then it had come to a stage where they even could do this. So on the salary day, I told my senior, so I used to be reporting directly to the owners. And on the salary day, I kind of told my boss that I do not want this salary, I want my performance appraisal. So my stand was basically saying that, and I'm not saying that I deserve increment or why did you not give increment to me. Obviously, they had kept the basis of performance appraisal, and I said I need my performance appraisal before I get my salary. So the first month I did not get the salary. The second month also I did not get the salary. But all this time I kept going to work, working as usual, just keeping this stand that before my salary, I want performance appraisal. So there were moments of uneasiness or stress or whatever, but my intent was just that I am not here to blame, point out anger, but I want the facts to be seen, that let me also see if I'm not given appraisal because the performance is not there, then I need to see the performance and I need to sit face to face with you and see the performance. Because also being into recruitment or being a very measurable kind of a KPI that I had the records with me and I very well knew that my performance is above target and I'm doing well and I deserve a raise. So it was in the third month during the salary time that I was finally called by my boss. I had a discussion. There was no performance appraisal yet, but I was called by my boss. I was praised. I was given a gift, and I was also offered a 20% hike. And I continued to work in that place for some more years. Also changing the way, I changed my personality to handle toxicity. And this change that I did, helped me also to kind of in my business also today also it helps. Like there are times when a client is not paying me and I'm able to very clearly mention that these are the reasons, this is how I deserve to be paid. You can't delay my payment because in consultancy there's a rule that if a person leaves within a certain period, they will not pay me and so on. But I am able to put my point across and communicate. There have been times when people thought that this money is gone, like you will not get paid for this, because so and so is happening, because there is such a delay. But because of this habit of documenting things, applying self-advocacy, it helps me even today. There have been times when even today, clients where technically they are not supposed to pay me because they did a lot of interviews and everything, but they did not select a candidate because I have documented things, because I am communicating politely but assertively and taking a stand for myself. My clients have gone out of the way and paid me, even when they did not take a person as a placement, because they realize that you have put in a lot of hard work, you have given the CVs and interviews and everything. If there is an issue, it is at their end, but they wanted to respect the work and they have paid me. So this is also what happens when you advocate for yourself, when you take your stand. And I think why I also made this video is I think it is important that all of us learn this in the initial stages of our career, so that going above in the future, we need these skills. We need to learn this. The more higher you go, the more you get into a managerial position, you get into a senior management position, the more spine you need. Otherwise, it is very difficult for you to survive. So that is why it is very, very important to learn this skill. Maybe a few tips in this video will help you. If you want to know more, do let me know. Meanwhile, like, subscribe and comment. Tell us your stories of self-advocacy and we'll be looking forward to it. Thank you so much.